everyone.
Are they
I call
working?
the meeting to order. It's 6:02, and I'd ask Dalia to
Roll call.
call.
Present tonight we have Genoveva Fruitt, Brian Smith, Frederick Kruger, Bethany Miller is not here. She confirmed she was going to be in. She's probably running late. Lisa Ramsey confirmed. She's not here. Melissa Sileo is here. Absent tonight we have Margie Sloan and Mary Blake.
Okay.
And Jennifer Webb is present.
Okay, thank you. So the first item in the agenda is the approval of minutes of April 11, 2018.
I'll make a motion to approve as presented.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. So everybody that is in favor, please say
Aye.
anyone against it? Okay, minutes approved. The second item in the agenda is the staff report, so I'll pass the
Okay, thank you.
word to Teresa.
So we have a couple of items tonight. One is the CRA redevelopment plan was approved in the last city council meeting, and now they have included public arts program within the CRA. So I provided a copy of the memo that was presented on June 4th, and then I just made a copy of the table because that's the only place that the Public Arts Board is mentioned. So they did not provide any funds yet, so it's to be determined. But what that means is that now we can use money from the CRA if the CRA Board approves for public arts, because before, they wanted to be able to contribute and to, engage in any kind of public arts initiative, but because it was not in the plan, they could not use the money, the funds for the CRA. So now that avenue is open for us. So that's good news. So I wanted to report that to you.
Was there a dollar amount?
It's not.
mentioned,
So that is what
considered?
the table shows, that it's to be determined. So we will have
But
to...
did they discuss any kind of?
No, I think
Okay.
what will happen is that if we have any project, if we engage, then we can take to any
I see.
idea, then we can take to them with a dollar amount, right? So it is in the
Blank
plan.
check.
Well, I wouldn't say so, but, it gives an opportunity for us to...
Yeah.
I can detail that with John Jones, because this was recently approved, and...
That's great news.
But it's great news that now we have, and the CRA is a very large area of the city, right? The whole, downtown and the mixed-use area.
Mhm.
So that opens, opportunities for us too. So that is the first item. The second one is that I'm already preparing some items when we take, good evening, when we take our master plan to City Council. I think that night we could also handle the recognition of the Oviedo Photo Club that we discussed. So I already prepared a memo to take to City Council, and that is the item B. And so this is just a draft of the memo, and it's a special recognition of the Video Photo Club for its participation in the city's public arts program. So what we are stating here is that although only now we have a public arts program in the city, we already have initiatives that were working as public art, and one of them was the Oviedo Photo Club, the exhibition that we have, and that it's a way to recognize, to thank them, and also to show, to educate, to actually advertise that we have that exhibition here for residents and for visitors in the city, and also open, the idea to other, groups in the city that we could also have the same kind of partnership. So I'm planning to take that on July 16th, if we also can take the master plan. And I'm going to discuss a little bit because I'm changing some things in the master plan. So the idea would be that we would take, because then we would expect the board to be there, the board members to be there, and then we would have the recognition first, and then the approval of the master plan. And if the board decides, then we could also propose something as a call for arches for the mural that we discussed. We could have the 3 items at the same night, or have just the 2 items first, and then the third, the mural, the call for arches, the idea of the call for arches in the next one.
Has the master plan been finalized?
Sorry?
Has the master plan been finalized?
So I have been working on that. I included one, the educational component that we wanted. Now I want to include a CRA, something on the CRA, so that it's also, recognized there. And I have been updating. I'm changing a little bit of the format. I'm going to submit to, because that was, the initial one was a draft, right? So now I have to be more organized, for City Council. What I want to discuss with you when we talk about that is also how we are going to present it to City Council. If the board, will be the one presenting to City Council, and then we will have to prepare the presentation, because one thing is the document, the other thing would be the presentation with the PowerPoint.
I know that's a big job to get all that worked out, so thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. And let me tell you, I would love, when I start working on that, I want to, close my door and spend hours, because it is fun, right? It's a nice job, but there is so much development going on, and we have been, so it's kind of, we have to work a little bit here and there. But so the second item is the recognition of the Oviedo Photo Club, and
The idea is to go on July 16th?
as you know, we need to have a date. That's when things happen, right? When we have a date, we start to work. So if we will have one meeting before July 16th. So if that is ready, and you all review the documents, and you're all okay with that, we can place on July 16th. If not, we'll go to August. But the idea is to start having a deadline, because that's how things become more priority, right? Go up in the priority list is when we decide that it's time. And I think it's time, especially if you want to have the mural, for next year, the beginning of next year. I mean, we need to start the process. And we have some funds, so that's good too. So the third item that I want to discuss is the public art master plan. So I changed, I'm reviewing, page by page here and changing, putting a little bit more meat, and updating a little bit the data, because this data is already old with the population. This was done in 2017. I created one new page that is here. It's an educational component to the master plan, and basically it's saying that arts education programs are an excellent way to educate and stimulate conversation on public arts, and we could do that by inviting lecturers, have a series of lecturers, in the city, coming to the city. We could have partnerships with schools and use the resources of colleges, right? We have Seminole State College, we have Rollins College, we have UCF. So there are a lot of resources. And the local museums, too, right? We can invite museums. These are ways for us to bring awareness to, public art, but also start to talk how we can be partners, right? If there is ways that museums could lend us, pieces of art, or it's a conversation, right, that we have to start having. And then, the other thing is promote special workshops. So if we have, artists that we would like to, in events have workshop so that they can teach their techniques, and provide space for public school presentations in our Central Lake Park. So these are all, opportunities that we could use to foster, the conversation with public arts. And then the other component that I want to include too is the CRA. So have something specifically on the CRA and more detailed. I wanted to have also the structure that shows more the actions, right? What are the things that we can do? Detail, for instance, how the Public Arts Board will engage with the artists through donations, through calls for artists, right, for proposals, and have that also detailed in the plan. So I'm in the final stages of working with that. I can send you all, when it's ready, before the meeting, for you to have a look and then bring your comments. And if we have a consensus that it's ready in the next city, Public Arts Board, then we can take on July 16th. Then I also received, the other one is Call for Artists. So I researched a little bit, just Google Call for Artists. How does it look like, right? And I got this page here, and it seemed very simple. It's just, cities and places advertising, that's what we want. This is so I did like a draft of what could be one for us. This one I don't think you all have. But it's something like, as part of the Public Arts Program, the City of Oviedo Public Arts Board is announcing a request for proposal for local artists, muralists, because in the beginning would be a mural, to submit a proposal for a mural at Central Lake Park with the following dimensions, with the following theme. And I think the theme that we discussed, if I'm not mistaken, is the postcard, right? Is that the first one? That we write the Oviedo postcard. And the deadline to submit the proposal is this date and this time. And then how we are going to compensate, and what would be the idea on the compensation. If there will be a stipend associated with for the finalist, and plus an additional for, painting, or it's going to be a total including the painting, and that the Public Arts Board will evaluate the applications on this specific date, so that it's, everybody knows, and will make a recommendation to City Council, who will consider the recommendation on this specific date. So we announced the whole process, and if you'd like to have more information on the theme, it's up to the Public Arts Board. But that's something that, if you are comfortable, if it was already decided that one of the first actions of the Public Arts Board will be to fund a mural in Central Lake Park, we could start also the process, and we could take the 3 items at the same night when we take to the Public Arts Master Plan to City Council.
And would ours just be posted on the city's website, or how would it work?
I would imagine that's we have the
Will we have
website. We have a
app?
Facebook too,
Yeah.
right? And I think we can check what are the social media
Okay.
sources that we have to provide information,
Okay.
and then any details that how they should submit, if we want to provide that too. But
Okay.
we don't have any presence in the website yet. No. No. No, they are on the website. So everything that we do here is posted in the web in our website at city meetings. But it doesn't have any announcement, or a specific page of the Public Arts Board. I mean, we can plan to have that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
That could be something that we could
Like I know,
organize as well.
Normal RFPs, you can sign up for services that give you alerts. Hey, this has come up. Do artists have anything like that? I don't know.
Didn't we discuss that last time?
Did we discuss?
I think so. Unless I'm confusing my Sanford and my Oviedo.
Yeah, I don't remember discussing that.
There was I thought we discussed it. Valley, did we not? You did the minutes?
The what?
Didn't we discuss a service where they had the RFPs out for the call to artists, like a website?
Yeah, there's a couple of websites that are looking for events.
I thought we talked about it at the last
It
meeting.
doesn't show a lot of the summers. Yeah, it doesn't show what, we even approved certain things about the postcard and in the minutes that I'm just looking at. But I think I remember it.
I don't think it was in the last one that we
Yeah,
approved. It was the previous one.
I
Yeah.
don't have the
Maybe.
collection of the
No,
minutes here.
I'll do a little Google right now, but I'm pretty sure we talked about it. Because somebody was talking about a service. It may have been Stanford. Looks like the cities have them on their own website. Call to Artist Tampa, Call to Artist Orlando, Castleberry, Delray Beach, Chicago. But I believe there is a council that does it, but it may have a fee involved for you to. Right.
I know that there's municipal websites like Vendor Link and that allows you to post, procurement offices post things for, those kind of solicitations, and that it could probably be incorporated in that, but I don't know if they would be available on regular artist boards. Artists generally look at that
Yeah.
as opposed to the
Art
different.
that-
Would these follow into a regular request for proposal for a contract? No, it's not a vendor, right?
No.
So we would not. It will be a call for artists. I mean, it's like a.
More like an RFQ, more like a qualification.
But that would still
But you're
be
not
a
bound by the
process,
purchase.
though.
I think it's.
But it would not be the
Not
purchasing
under the
agent.
Purchasing policy.
Yeah, it would not be a purchasing.
It's like you're, what's the word? Direct sourcing it, like you're, can't think of the word. You're funding
I
it.
have a question.
I mean, a lot of them do them as RFPs. Looks like some of them are RFPs.
I don't know why you couldn't do it the same way.
Call to artists and the decision of doing something first than others, the postcard or the other one. Does this have to be approved by city council?
Yeah,
So we would have to make a proposal. And
That's
that
what
would
I'm
be an
saying.
item.
it would be an item
And
to.
then-
Yeah,
And then we would be able
yeah.
to just have clarification. Just another thing, I remember the last meeting, or the meeting before last, that Megan Swan, she talked about the celebration of the Oviedo, what's the name of that? Citizens in Action, that was completing some anniversary. 50th anniversary, and that would be one way of celebrating, to do that mural in that park, so I don't know whether that would take precedent.
And before taking the call maybe it's not ready to be in the first meeting with City Council. Maybe that be taken, in the second one. But we have to revise, and we can revisit the discussion. There were three murals that we discussed. One was the postcard in Novitola Park. Mm-hmm. The second one was one that for the schools, right, that we talked about, like a say or something like that we could do with the schools. And the third one would be the one in Round Lake Park. Mm-hmm. That actually we still have to check what is going to be the wall. The theme, I think it was Black History. That was what, right? And that would be to be revealed in the during the Martin Luther King. So that would be at the beginning of next year. But in the order, it's up to the board. I mean, it's all good, right? They are all great ideas. So, mm-hmm. and then we have the $10,000, dollars in the budget. So if we can fund the three, if also we want to learn with the process and have one, and then the others, that may be a good way to go too. And we will need on your part to start having a contract, right? Because I think these we should also submit to City Council.
The contract with the artist?
For the artists, for the maintenance, if we want, to remove the mural in the future, right? That the city has the rights, in the future to that kind of thing. And then I don't know if we need to have also specific criteria, so that it's because it's like a competition, and so that it's pretty clear, what is the criteria that the board will consider when evaluating the proposals to take to council. So, but I think if it's not in the same meeting, maybe it's too early. It could be soon after, because it will take a while for those things to happen, and if we want to have a deadline, reach a deadline, that would be good to start. And my last point, and if you want to discuss or not, but was information that Mr. Anthony Dill gave to me, and I provided to you a copy. And I think that came from, if I'm not mistaken, Carrie Dam was the one that asked him to provide some numbers. So he provided that to us. He understands that, there is no commitment, that this is just information for the boards to, to have as reference for the future.
So he did provide numbers?
Yes, and I think you should have a copy. I think it was the last. It's
under city
has
duties.
E.
Yeah, the very annual versus 5,000, 25,000.
At the next meeting, I'll bring you guys a bunch of the documents that we use in Sanford regarding the art on loan, the art that's donated, the art that all the artists, the mural agreement. I'll bring you all kinds of samples.
Okay.
And that'll go well with Christine's talk.
Okay. So Christine Dalton from Sanford was supposed to come here to do a presentation, but she was invited to go to Italy, and so
Dublin.
yeah, and then yeah, I said you are excused. You can come next month.
Yeah.
So she's coming next month, but she's very, very interesting, and I think it's going to be a good discussion.
She's an adjunct professor at Rollins. She's
Yeah, that's nice. Yeah.
pretty phenomenal. Almost as phenomenal here.
One of the things on the city duties is providing a safe location for artwork. Is there ever any insurance required on artwork that is installed?
That's a conundrum that cities face. It will have to be addressed with risk management. Generally, we ask that the artists carry insurance on their pieces. Risk management has a lot of heartburn. We'll have to talk to risk management here and see how they wish to handle it. I know Stanford had difficulty resolving the issue with, because they insure through the League of Cities.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you insure through?
I don't know.
Yeah. So generally, as part of the agreement, depending on the type of art and where it's put and whether it's a loan or whether it's a gift, or it will vary as to whether the insurance is required to be held by the artist or whether it goes under the city's policy. Because sometimes those policies can be very cost prohibitive. Is there video cameras?
Like ever be required for mail
Oh, I don't. That's not a question for me.
I don't think we have video cameras there. We have police, but we don't have video cameras. That area, because it's very, there's a lot of people, there's a lot of social control, right? So there's, the residents nearby, so, but, yeah.
I think for
Things-
me, just, that's great to get a proposal from him, and maybe we can use this as a, of what to
As a
expect.
reference.
Yeah.
But I definitely feel like we should explore, what else.
Mm-hmm.
So is that our number one thing, is to come up with our call to artists, or what do we want to start with today? Like coming up with criteria?
It's up to you what you would like to discuss. I mean, it was already decided that one of the first items, unless you all want to revisit that, would be the murals, right? So for the murals, I think it would be good to discuss what would be the criteria, and so that we can write, a proposal for a draft for the call for artists, and we can discuss in the next one. So I think that would be good. The other thing that you also need to decide is who is going to present and how would like to present to City Council the Public Arts Master Plan.
Oh, I think that we could discuss my suggestion, the issue of the master plan presentation, because that's going to be the next thing that we're going to do prior even to the proposal for artists. Usually, this is going to be done through a resolution, I believe. So, and you will, staff will have to present the documentation, right? Which is going to be the plan and a PowerPoint, or
So it will be a memo, right?
I know, the
A
memo.
resolution and the master plan.
and the document itself.
Yeah, the master plan. And then a PowerPoint presentation if you all want to have a PowerPoint presentation.
So that's
Last time, Jennifer did a great job presenting the proposal for the ordinance. And
I would just need to be, if I were to do it again, I would just need to be up to speed as to, not super proud of it, I would just need to be really solid on what was in the master plan, just so I could be confident
Okay.
presenting it to the city, to the board. So that, but if anyone wants to do it, it took me a while to put the presentation together.
yeah,
So,
yeah, you have to have, the master plan
right.
ready.
and we do not have any commitment on July 16th, right? Nobody's expecting that. Is that because if we don't have a deadline,
Yeah, exactly.
things just move, the short-term priorities, get their way, and this is pushed forward. So we can work with whatever.
That's the only thing I would think, want everyone to think about is that it takes a while to put, once we get the master plan, it takes a while
Right,
to
to
put it
make it.
together and to get everybody's buy-in as to how the format and everything looks, just so you're not going in cold in front of the city council. We want to be everybody behind it before we present it. So,
So you would like to discuss the presentation in a meeting before we
Yeah.
present? I think that would be a good idea.
yeah,
So-
because I think this is an important enough issue, and it kind of sets the tone for the rest of what we're going to be doing as the Public Arts Committee, that I think we need to be set on how we're going to make our presentation in front of the council.
And if it involves multiple elements, you may consider divvying out different people if it could be lengthy, potentially.
Jennifer, could you use the mic?
I said you may want to consider divvying it up if it's going to have multiple components. That way she's not doing it all.
So if it's going to be, if we do it on the 11th and it's already the middle of June,
I don't think that
I don't think it's realistic to have it done by next month. I mean, if there's going to be a meeting for August, that's more doable, but we would need to get started right away and identify the different components of the master plan and come up with the general format of the presentation in and of itself, so that way, as we all work on it, we're kind of working on the same thing.
Well, then we need to have the draft of the master plan.
Mhm.
Do you think that
Today is 13th.
by the end of
The end of the month, yeah. So we'll probably have the master plan the next Public Arts Board. But I can send it before so that you can
I
all...
think it would be good to send before so you could
If
think
there's
about
if we can have the draft now and then maybe the final later, then that way we have an idea of the outline of the master plan. We can get started at least on the basic part of the presentation.
You don't have the draft?
well,
Well,
how different it's going to be from this.
yeah.
No,
That's
it's...
the question.
Is it pretty much the same as that, or is it drastically different, or?
I can send you whatever I have right now, and then
Then we could start putting the rough draft
Yeah.
together, and then that way, by the time you're done, we can make a workshop or something to finish it up.
So was we present the master plan, we 100% always have to stick to the plan, how long is it?
the plan is very broad, right? So it doesn't really give the ordinance that created, the policy and the board is what we have to follow. But it's really very broad. So,
Yeah, I think the plan gives us more clout, to request or apply for anything. So, we already have a master plan. It's approved by
Yeah.
the city council. And we have a plan on how to proceed. So that's the goal.
So how would we want to break it up then? I mean, given that it's going to be sort of, this is the template and we're going to add to it, but like how, and you've done one before, so maybe you could give some direction on it with all the people here and we can divvy it up and stuff.
I think looking at, didn't bring mine too. Essentially, each person can work on a section. We have
In this section.
well, but the thing that we don't need to present the whole thing,
Oh,
right?
that's
This
true.
is going to be presented to them so beforehand, so they will receive the master plan. The presentation is just the highlight. It's more to the
Summary.
public. It's no. So we would stress, what is, the master plan. Why are we doing? So what is public arts? Why public arts again? Although we already presented that before. And then the avenues that we are. So the cultural corridor that we are proposing, and and the things that we can do with the cultural corridor, and then highlight, the furniture, the street furniture as public art, the utility boxes that we discussed, the murals. It's really more of a conversation because they will have the document. It's just to highlight the.
I think we can, if that's the case, then maybe we just just put together a quick outline first, or maybe if you want to start with a quick outline of what you envision.
I can do that.
And then we can start.
Yeah.
I can put together, just like I did last time, do a quick PowerPoint, and we all review it. And then that way, everybody's buying on it. I mean, I have no problem putting that together. Did the format the last time work? I mean, I know it.
I think it did.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was very,
Yeah.
it was very visual too,
Yeah,
right?
that was the idea.
Yeah.
And I think this, if we're going to do something like this, keeping it visual would communicate a lot better.
Mhm.
Exactly. Exactly.
So Teresa will send to you,
Yeah, I could- yeah.
and
Yeah.
you can make
I'm blowing up your inbox.
initial, because we cannot communicate
I'm blowing up your inbox. with
in
the
between.
emails.
Yeah.
So we can, what I'm saying is that we cannot communicate in between to
Mhm.
exchange ideas for the presentation.
No, you
So
can communicate
I think that we
with
can
me,
communicate
yeah.
with you, so you can send us whatever,
We
like
could
your
do-
proposal, and then,
Yeah, exactly. So I would, she would send me the outline, I would do the first draft, she would send the draft to everybody for comment, and then she would collect the comments, and then that gets relayed back to me for updates, and then by the time we meet on the 11th, that would all be incorporated, and then however we want to move forward.
then we can discuss that.
Mhm.
Well, by then, we would have the draft of the document and the work, the presentation.
You and you can combine them potentially, but not.
So the plan is to have by July 11th a discussion on the draft of the master plan that the staff would provide to us and the presentation. Okay, so we have already.
That's the agenda, I mean, I would think that.
Yeah, that would be the whole agenda. That's going to take time.
Yeah.
I don't think that we need anything else.
Well, in July, we have Christian Dalton coming. That was the plan from Sanford. But I think, the master plan, nobody had comments before, right?
Yeah, but the presentation, I think that we'll spend a little bit more time. So,
We, yeah,
how much time do we give to her? I mean,
Depends on how long you want to hear
Yeah.
from her.
that's,
'Cause she
she's,
can talk
yeah,
as little or as long as you like.
yeah.
She has a wealth of information.
then you have to fit.
Because the presentation is, I would say, last time we did not do a long discussion on the presentation. Actually, nobody saw the presentation, I think.
Yeah, I went.
Before.
I went cold, yeah. I was a little nervous, but the thing is, too, the master plan and the presentation should go hand in hand with each other. If there are things with the master plan that we talk about that has an impact on the presentation, there's no reason why we couldn't do the two simultaneously.
Yeah, no, that's,
You know,
that would be the idea. The only thing is that I was thinking that it would need to have a full time. I didn't realize that that was,
unless we want
already
to push out the presentation further.
I think we should
Yeah.
get to it.
Get it
yeah,
done,
you
yeah.
have to
get
do
it
it.
done.
And if we don't finish it for some reason, and
Yeah.
we can talk about that after, but let's.
Yeah, push it forward.
Yeah.
I would just be careful with the emails. Don't be replying all. If you are going to reply about something that Jennifer sent out, send it to Teresa. Be up to Teresa as to in what format she may redistribute it, because we can have you all conversing back and forth.
Right.
We'll figure that out.
Is there a way for us to have an interim within our charter? Is there a way for us to have an interim meeting in the event that maybe the comments are getting too convoluted and we just have a face-to-face discussion?
You could schedule a workshop potentially, but it'd have to be published and you'd have to meet together.
I guess we cross that bridge if we go there.
Would it be the case to postpone the presentation by Christine Dalton.
Do you really think it's going to take so long to discuss if the master plan did not take long? Do you think the presentation of the master plan would take that long?
Oh, no, it could.
I don't think we should postpone it.
No?
It's just that, the discussion of the master plan did not take, there were not many comments for the master plan itself, right? So, unless now that it's ready to be presented, they will have a different look.
Well, when you presented the master plan to us, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, when we gave that as a draft.
Because you had already done it, and we're like, wow, this is
Yeah,
really great.
No, but that's what I'm saying. It
It was already done, and we thought that was, way better than I had anticipated.
no, I know, but comments to improve or to change, right? So if the need of the subject that we are taking to council did not trigger a lot of discussion, I just don't imagine that the presentation of the same document would trigger, a lot of discussion. And
Well, if everybody agrees, we maintain.
It was kind of a long one, yeah. But I don't remember what all we.
But if it's just highlighting and not putting the whole thing, then it's
Yeah.
yeah, we are not going, we should not go. They will have the document, right? They will read the document beforehand.
So yeah, if it's an overall summary, again, that's another issue. It's not, that's where I was a little nervous too about presenting this, because it's, going, what level of detail do you go into? So if it's very high level, that's one thing. If it's going into the nitty-gritty, then that's something else.
No, the presentation, I think it can be and should be more high level, because especially depending on the agenda, how long it is in the city council. But there may be some questions which could be directed either to the staff or to us. And we
Yeah,
have to be
this would
prepared
happen, I think,
Yeah.
questions from council members
from
to,
council members
yeah.
to
So who would answer the questions?
I would, if by any chance the public, any of you would like to answer, if it's more of a, address to the board members, it would be you. But if it was something like more operational or more, then it would be me. Or the city manager. The city manager is the one that presents anything to council, right?
Can you anticipate, knowing what's going on here, them having any pushback on anything that we're proposing?
No, because we are following the ordinance, right? There is no commitment. This is just, there's nothing, I think, controversial here. The only thing that may have some, it's the chicken parade, because the chicken has, some people, there are some, strong feelings from both sides. So some people like to stress emphasize the chicken as a heritage of the city. Some would like to move, pass along that. So I don't know, but it's the only thing that I see here that people can say, oh, really, we're going to do chicken parade. I think it's a nice idea. I like it, but
Is that in the master plan?
it is, yeah. And I highlighted to myself, should we have that there or not? I think it's a nice idea, but, it's...
I'm for chickens.
You are for the chicken, so, yeah.
When this is presented to the city council, will all of the board be at that meeting to lend support?
I think that's the idea. That is the idea. That's why I would like to have the recognition to the Oviedo Photo Club, in the same night, so that, because we usually take pictures, and it will be a way to have the board, because, and we have been receiving, I think you also received some communication from the journalists that came here asking, for opportunities to, if we are up to something, to let her know. So that would be a night that we could, I could contact her and say, tonight we are presenting the master plan to the city council, and we are also recognizing the Oviedo Photo Club. And so that's why I thought that would be good to have both items in the same night.
City council meets on what? First and third Mondays?
First and third Mondays, yeah.
each month.
and we have to present everything to the city clerk 2 weeks prior. So that this is another, so to be able to be in the first meeting in August, I have to present everything to the city clerk on the second meeting, city council meeting in July.
Okay, so is everybody in agreement that our next meeting on July 11th, we will have the presentation by Christine Dalton from the city of Sanford and a discussion on the draft of the master plan and the presentation of the master plan to city council? The draft and the presentation will be provided to us in advance. Of course, that we will have a mechanism of giving suggestions and comments that we go through.
So the
likely to read.
presentation, I will provide an outline, right? I will not provide a presentation itself.
Right.
No, but
I'm going to work on
Jennifer is going
Okay.
to work on something and send to you, and then you could send to us previous to the meeting. Yeah, so that's the plan.
And then what day, if we're going to meet on the 11th, what day would be optimal for me to get it back to you so that way we can distribute it? It'd be like a few days ahead of time? Say like, give them like 2 or 3 days to the 8th or 9th?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that'll be good.
So we won't see the final master plan?
Eighth
then
is
before it's
Sunday.
presented?
No, you will.
I just was like, because there's
No.
outline, so.
Yeah. No outline of the
Of the
presentation.
presentation,
Yeah.
but the plan.
The plan should be ready, yeah. You will have to see before. Which is basically this one with some, modifications, yeah. And this we can update every year if we want to, if we have time, if we have, ideas that were not there and we want to include.
So I would suggest that the agenda for July 11 be the two things. And for the next meeting, we already decide on the agenda to discuss the RFP for the first action, which most likely will be the mural.
I mean,
So we are prepared
a lot
and
of
bring
governments do
ideas
it
on
that
that,
way.
right?
To make
I think that then, knowing in advance,
You need to
we
check
can
the purchase
prepare
order.
ourselves, do our homework, and bring,
But once the master
anything,
plan is
we can get
prepared and approved, we need to be able to move
forward.
immediately
Yeah.
to the first project.
Yeah.
So that's why we need to, so that's why I'd like to have a series of agenda items already defined, so we can prepare for that, if you agree with this. Yeah.
Good strategy.
Okay, so July 11th, master plan and presentation, and August 15th, which are our future meeting days, would be the RFP
Yeah,
or
I would,
call for
call for-
artists.
yeah.
Yeah, call for artists.
I will check with the purchasing
Whatever
agent.
is-
I don't think it's on our RFP, but
And the process and the criteria, I think that that's what we have to discuss.
and the amount.
Yeah.
We can do some preliminary research by looking at the optional locations and getting dimensions of what we're going to need in size.
So we have already that for the two murals in Ovidondo Park. And if I remember from the last conversation that we had, that I don't know if it was in the last meeting or not, that we ranked, and I have that, if we don't have it here, I have ranked, the murals. I think the second one was not the second one in the Ovidondo Park. The second one would be the Round Lake Park. That is what was decided.
And that's when we didn't really decide which wall.
That one is one that I have to check if there is a wall, if we have to build a wall. Is there a wall? Yeah, that was, yeah.
Well, the
They mentioned, right? Drew mentioned when he was here.
At Oviedo in the park?
No.
No, Boston, like,
No, Oviedo in the Park, there are 2 mural places. Yeah, and in the master plan shows, I can show you. They are ready. They have lighting.
Like on the
they-
back of the
It's the back of the restroom.
Yeah.
And the cantina.
canteen.
And
yeah.
then the, where's that?
Yeah.
It's always under construction. So this is one. This is the large one. And then you have a smaller one.
There's a fence up and stuff on it now, right?
No. This is not under construction. This is the fence, yeah. Now, this is the mural, and I walked out there last week. And there is a smaller one that's also shown here. But these are the 2 in Center Lake Park, right, in Oviedo Park. In Round Lake Park,
That's where we are not sure where.
that is where I'm not sure. I have to go there and check if there is any. And I think Drew mentioned that there was a wall for one of the courts. But you have to see if it's a place that you would like to have a mural, right? It cannot be just a wall, right? This is the smaller one. So, and this is in the back of the boathouse.
Mm-hmm.
are we going to,
Go ahead.
are we going to identify priorities in the master plan to outline, which projects we'd like to pursue, first, second, third, so that way the board can see more?
I don't think so, because you want to have flexibility, right? So these are just ideas, and then if it meets the what is presented here, then we could. It fits, right? It's City Council will have to approve anyway, so this is just a guideline to.
Should I go out there to Round Lake Park and take photographs of all the surfaces that we possibly could use? Or
I think that
Yeah, that would be a good idea. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I drove
We
through
can-
there. It's like the racquetball courts,
The 2 wall.
outside walls are like big plain white walls that
Okay.
you would imagine you're on.
Okay.
But you don't want them like
Faces.
hitting with the balls on
Yeah.
the faces of the
Yeah.
people on the outside.
On the outside. Yeah, I think so too. Yeah.
I'll take some photographs and then I'll email it to you to.
Okay. I need to go there too. So.
Okay, so the odd, should we, I think that we have everything set up, right? The other item of the agenda is other discussion items, and we would like to know whether the members have any report to provide.
I don't.
No? I don't have any either. No?
Well, one thing I thought to just bring up, it's not, just the idea that little libraries, there became a huge drama with Bentley Woods, homeowner and something. So it just, based on this, my attention was drawn to it, and I've driven past it. But I just thought that was interesting, just after our discussion about the little library. And
So what happened?
Then you noticed.
I don't know. I think
Uh.
they're
I think it is still there.
It is still there now, but I think they're trying to get rid of this homeowner who has a little library. They proposed maybe moving it to sort of, the general property for the HOA. For a while. You can't.
Homeowners associations have rules, and I think they are.
Without.
They.
So they did a permit and all that.
I think that I did not read the whole thing,
Yeah.
but it was given to me. I just had a glimpse at it, and I think it's just the homeowners association thinks it's a disrespect to the rules. It has nothing to do with the city, but it
Right,
was.
and I think the reaction from most people was, why?
Why?
It's
Yeah,
so
yeah.
pretty and it's such a great idea. So I thought
That brings up a question I had too, was like, for example, there are some parts of Oviedo that are next to or part of homeowners association property. So for example, if you're to do an interesting art installation, say along Lockwood Boulevard, because that's a heavily traveled area in Oviedo, and if you could do like a art installation that as you're driving, you see this art piece, how would we collaborate with the homeowners association to ensure that, I mean, I guess we just, like we do with any renovation, that we coordinate with them, but what is the city ordinance as far as the amount of property management that the city has versus where the HOA?
No, so the public arts program only relates to public right-of-way and public facilities and parks, right? So we would not, if someone from a private, so if it's a private development with private roads or private, property from homeowner associations, we would not, it would not be subject to this board. So they could do art, if passes the codes, for, building or whatever it is, the installation, then they would be okay, but would not be subject to the board. That was a decision that the committee made, right? Different from Sanford that decided that all murals, even in private property, would be considered public art.
An HOA could be notified just as a matter of courtesy, they have no say in what's being done on city property.
If it's city property, yes. But the city would not, I think, invest money in the neighborhood, right? If the neighborhood would not, support the idea. I mean, we have, and that would be a good problem to have. I don't anticipate that we will have that problem so soon, right?
Just think it out there.
Okay, the other item in our agenda is our future meeting dates. I'd like to confirm the regular meeting will be Wednesday, July 11th, 2018, when we will discuss, as we agreed before, the master plan and the presentation, and we'll have a presentation by the City of Sanford staff. And the next one will be Wednesday, August 15, 2018, also a regular meeting. And the idea is to have a discussion about call for artists for our first project. So does anyone have anything that would like to raise? Yes?
Just say that if something comes up that we needed to have a workshop or an extra meeting to expedite things, I'd be all in favor of it. Just to
Okay.
keep things rolling.
Okay, sure. That will be taken into account. So if nothing else, we will adjourn the meeting at 7 o'clock. Exact.